If you're
I don't think
shaheed,
so.
No?
I mean, I think that was a promise that the Pope gave in those specific cases. Right. But if you go to war fi sabilillah, meaning, so it's going to be defensive war anyway, but I don't think you're guaranteed heaven just for going.
Oh, really? Okay.
All those people
Just for
in the
going.
battle of Uhud and battle of,
If you die, then you
No, I'm
have
saying
to-
if you die.
that's
the
what she
Ahlul
said.
Badr are special status, right? The people of Badr are a very, very special status.
how many died in Badr?
Sorry?
How many died?
Like
Muslims.
6.
Yeah, that's tiny.
Yeah.
Six people?
I think three
Six
of theirs,
Muslims.
3 of ours. Yeah. It's a really tiny
Wait,
amount.
three of theirs, 3 of ours?
Yes.
Well, no,
something like
I'm
that.
talking
Really?
about all the battles back across all
I could be wrong, but it's a tiny amount. I'm sorry?
I'm talking about all the battles from across all sometimes. You know,
What's the question
the
is?
battle of Trench, whatever.
I mean, are all those people, were they all promised paradise just for fighting?
Yes.
I could be wrong, I don't recall that.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying like, not Prophet's time after that till now.
I don't know if this is a promise, right?
I always
No,
know these
okay.
It's if you're killed in the way of Allah Ta'ala.
No,
that's
if you're
what it
killed
is.
in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like you're fighting, whatever, you're like the worst human being ever, then you're like, okay, maybe I'll do like one good deed, and I'll, like,
And that just happens, yeah.
and you die, and then you go to heaven.
Yeah, inshallah. You bypass the day of judgment.
Well, it's the mentality of unlucky and those people, though, so.
Now, I do think there is virtue and benefit to seek to be shaheed. You just can't jump in the way of a gun. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I mean, who wouldn't want to bypass the day of judgment, right?
I feel like all those people in like Palestine and Syria, like when you say shaheed.
Allah knows best, you know. The question even extends further. What if you have a cop who is Muslim and is killed in the line of duty? In some cultures, they're also called shaheed, but at the end of the day, only Allah Ta'ala knows. Somebody here is raising it, yes?
Well, I don't agree with Harvey Cooper, but
Yeah, do.
people who go for jihad, it's a big deal for sure, and I'm sure they're very rewarded, and there's a lot of, it's an act of worship like any other, but there were people that came back and like shared the booty, so they were like, they went on and lived their normal lives too, so we can't glorify them as just because they went to jihad, they're like perfect saints, you know. We just don't know.
I mean, and I think the question is always going to be about intention, so we're not going to know, right? Right? I mean, just like that very frightening hadith of the three people who are going to be called to account, the scholar, the philanthropist, and then the martyr, right? And the martyr is asked, well, what did you do? And he says, I gave everything for Allah Ta'ala, I gave my life, and then he's going to be told, no, you're lying, right? Imagine, A'udhu Billah, being told you're lying on the day of judgment, right? You're lying, you only did this so people say that you're brave or people celebrate you. Okay? That's, can't get much worse than that.
Well, it's like that one Sahaba, that one who, fell on his knife.
Uh-huh. And the interesting thing is, in terms of the adab of the Sahaba, we don't know what the Sahaba's name is. So we're also not given the names of many of those people, except like Abdullah ibn Ubay. Yeah. So this is a point I want to draw your attention to, that especially because you find this a lot with young men, this notion of some perceived dunya honor for being shaheed. And so the point is that if you put yourself in harm's way, not only may you not be shaheed, I'm not saying that as a dua, meaning it may be that you're not going to be shaheed, but it may be that you might even go in the wrong direction. Jihad fi sabilillah is that fard kifaya, not jihad, I'm using jihad as fighting. Is it fard kifaya or fard ayn? Fard kifaya meaning community obligation, or fard ayn, obligation of the individual? Fard kifaya. Right.
But if it's like a official call to jihad from like an official call to
The
jihad is from the
Muslim
government.
entity.
Khalifa?
Yeah. Then,
It's not like every
From
man
Hizb ut-Tahrir.
Maybe.
who's gonna stay behind them, you know?
so,
Some
because that's where you have the narration where a person wanted to go part of the fight, and the Prophet peace be upon him asked, are your parents still alive? Right. Yes, they are. Then go back and take care of your parents. Right. That's for the ayn.
Yes.
You know.
What about the 3 people that stayed behind?
So this is Ka'b ibn Malik and
Oh,
the other
because
two.
they had no excuse to stay behind.
Yeah, meaning one said, I got attached to my robe. And think about that in terms of attachment to dunya, right?
Robe?
Yeah, this is a really good hadith. It's a very, very long hadith that everybody should read. Basically, Ka'b ibn Malik, and I forgot who the other two were. It was time for Tabuk. And so the Muslims already conquered everything right now. They're expanding. And the call came again that Muslims had to go, and for just this moment at the wrong time, he got attached to his robe. I think the Prophet might have even given him this robe, you know, and his little tiny attachment to this one thing in dunya, he stayed back, right? And the Prophet kept asking, where is he, where is he? And, you know, people either didn't know or they said he was back behind. And when they came back from the expedition, every time the Prophet looked at him, his face would like turn red, like someone who's trying to hide his anger with him, right? He's still kind of,
Whose face Rasulullah?
Prophet.
yeah, he's super, and you know, he's trying to greet, but you can clearly see the anger. And then they're told, like, no one talk to them. And these three guys, at least one or two of them, tie themselves to trees, like wailing, you know, if you're not going to have mercy upon us, then there's no hope for us, and this and that. And then an ayah was revealed, you know, seeking forgiveness for them. And so Ka'b bin Malik then also then felt, you know, alhamdulillah, you know, I repented. And then Allah Ta'ala even had revealed an ayah.
Like, you know, during the Prophet sometime, like any time that, you know, he called them to war, every single male was obligated to just drop everything.
Meaning, there were some stipulations, but in general, yeah. I mean, it varied. Like Badr was primarily Meccans, but there were some Medinans. Uhud was different. And, I mean, so in each time, let me put it like this: every time the Prophet called people to make bay'ah with him, right? Because also there was a bay'ah that was when Usman was sent to Mecca to go talk to leaders of Mecca, and they didn't know what happened to him. And then rumors came back that he's been assassinated, right? And so then the Prophet called people to pledge allegiance to him and brought together 1,500 people. They were going to actually go in part on the pilgrimage, but the motivation was because Usman was killed. And so like that's still international law. If your ambassador has been killed, that's grounds for war. And so the point is that he's not calling people to fight, but he's calling people to join. Yeah.
What was that war?
So that led to what became the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, right? I mean, when they found out that Usman wasn't killed, they were headed to
There was
do
a
the
war that
pilgrimage.
happened where one of the ambassadors was sent to the Roman Empire, right? And then they killed the ambassador, and then Muslim sent some 3,000 troops. Khalid bin Walid was one of them.
I don't know. Yeah. So again, so the point being that I don't think it's unvirtuous to seek to die as shaheed, and I think it's probably a good prayer to seek to die as shaheed, but you leave it up to Allah Ta'ala to decide how. Right. And look at Malcolm X's example of that. All he did at the end of the day was give a bunch of speeches. Right. That's the extent of what he did. Look at Sayyid Qutb. All he did was write a number of provocative things. But ours is not a death cult. Ours is a cult of Iman. Okay, it's 7:40. Let's stop here. Because then we're going to have promises about struggle.
When you say all they did, you mean that it was a total nonviolent gesture? Is that what you're
It's
thinking?
total. It's like, I mean, you can say Malcolm X at least was training people and stuff, but in nonviolent behavior. Because the Nation of Islam, the rules were that you had to follow the law, you had to obey the law. And I find that to be very powerful.
Absolutely.
Okay, any last questions or thoughts?
Inshallah, there'll be a fundraiser for a school that our brother here has been involved with, inshallah, so let's make an announcement.
Yeah, please.
So,